Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I'm going to take a look at an interview that Aurora did a while back. This is with on a program called the Howard Stern Radio Podcast or Radio Show. This is on a radio Sirius XM, I believe. So so I thought I'd share this with you, and it's in three parts. I'm going to put it together, and I'm going to maybe interrupt every once in a while in order to make sure that it doesn't get blocked. And here we go. Okay, this is 2016. Okay, so this is the interview section of the show, where after she sang the song, and Howard is going to interview her, and now this is quite interesting for those who are not familiar with the Howard Stern show. He is what I would say is very much of a shock jock type of thing, because his show is renowned for being original in the sense of he tends to go into there's no limits in his subject matter. He'll go and he'll push whatever envelope will get him the most views or the most appeal for the audience. He'll push, and he'll try to make the person he's interviewing as uncomfortable as possible at times. First by gradually, and then sort of going into areas where maybe a person is not comfortable with, but is sort of put in a position where they feel like they have to answer because there's millions of listeners, and you're sort of under a certain amount of pressure, and there's also somebody else that's supporting, that's coming with a different question or something else, which is Howard's assistant. And so it's a very difficult show, and there's a lot of artists and a lot of celebrities and so on who avoid going to this show because they can get in trouble by saying something that is maybe too strange or too weird, or saying something out of place, and then things, as anybody knows, can get either taken out of context, or people could get in trouble if they're not careful. But at the same time, you sort of feel like you're forced to open up about things because that's how I think good he is in putting you in that position, So yeah. Now, what's interesting here is that I think Aurora is at this point 20 years old, so she's still young, and I think her English is still somewhat of a second language. She's fluent, but it's not her first language at that point. So I think he probably took it easy on her a little bit because of that, and also because she's foreign and he doesn't really know much about her. So I think he was more gentle towards her than he would be normally with others. I think gentle in the sense of not broaching subject matters too forcefully, but letting the subject matters grow organically. And with Aurora, it's very easy for subject matters to grow in that sense organically. So it's a good match between the two of them. Anyway, here we go.
The Howard Stern Show.
When you first made that recording, was Bowie was still alive, right?
Yes.
As far as you know, did he ever hear your version of it?
Oh, I don't know.
You have no idea.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he would have liked that.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so
Yeah,
too.
because it's always weird. I imagine singing someone else's song. How do you
Yeah.
come up with the arrangement? How do you? Because I mean, there's so many highs and lows. That's a hard song to sing, isn't it? Technically,
Well, I don't think so.
no. Well, for you got a
It
good
feels
voice.
very floating and very. It's like a dance. Kind
In
of.
your act, do you do a lot of cover
See,
versions?
hold on, just a second. Sorry, Howard, but you notice how she said that for her it's like a dance, and it is. You know, I think her songs, or whatever she sings, are very much part of her physical nature, and maybe that's why she chooses them as well, because they sort of flow from within her, and they are expressed either both physically and verbally, and because she is so talented verbally, in the sense of music, it just comes out like naturally beautiful, and that's why I think her interpretations are always outstanding. Yeah, just it's an incredible thing to witness. This is what this is what I call a complete artist. You know, someone that from their feet to their head, including their brains, is all and their vocal cords. They're all connected to one movement. You know, there's no distance. There's no break between each one of those movements, and there's a complete understanding within her of the words, the music, the idea, and her interpretation shows that. At least that's how I see it. Anyway, sorry, Howard, I interrupted you. I'll just go back a little bit.
It's like a dance. Kind
In
of.
your act, do you do a lot of cover versions, or is that like the one song that
Well, I don't do that many cover versions. I've done a few of Bob Dylan,
right? That's your hero.
just because I didn't have enough songs. Well, I do really like the way he is, and I like his lyrics, and he hates everyone, doesn't he?
You think?
Okay. Hold on a second. It's funny because I think, if I remember correctly, in previous interviews, she said that the artists that she liked the most are Bob Dylan and I think Leonard Cohen. There was somebody else, and I can't remember who it is right now. But it's just fascinating that she has this interpretation of how Bob Dylan songs are. This is when Howard gets, I think, the first hint of who he's dealing with here, through the response of his question about Bob Dylan, and this is quite important. I'm gonna go back.
He is, and I like his lyrics, and he hates everyone, doesn't he?
You think? Well, he's questioning the world.
Yeah, maybe, which I think is nice, because many people seem to love everyone.
Right.
Everyone.
You like the fact that Bob Dylan kind of hates everyone.
Well, I do like it on him. It's like a weird cloak that suits him.
Are you a negative person?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't like.
Do you think that works out for Bob? I mean, you think he's happy hating everyone?
Well, I think it must be nice not having to use a lot of energy to please everyone.
I see.
Especially
Okay.
at his, after being him for so many years.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Now imagine that she comes up with an answer that they did not expect, a point that they did not expect about the songs are, he hates everyone, and that is actually that it sort of fits him, even though she's not like that. She sort of sees it as a nice cloak that he wears because it fits him. I mean, the type of the way she sees things is it's so imaginative and so how would I put it, fantastical in a sense because within what she's saying, it's not only sounds so completely opposite of what most people would say. It actually makes sense when she explains it, and she explains that, when she's asked the question from the other person doing in the interview, the assistant, Robin, I think, so so she's receiving another question, even though she was going off into something else, and she's receiving a question for clarification about what she said, and her explanation about the idea that it's sort of nice to be in a for Bob Dylan not to have to spend a lot of energy trying to make everybody happy if you hate everyone. I mean, it's not only funny, but there's truth to that as well, and that's part of her wisdom. I mean, that's that in itself is fascinating. It's something that people can reflect on, and I think that's what the first point that I think probably took both of these interviewers back, because they're trying just to have a plain interview with maybe pushing the envelope a little bit further down the road, but she's already leading the interview with her own pushing the envelope. They don't have to do that. She's actually leading them into things that they are not prepared to they were not prepared to go at this point, in the interview. So she's already taken the lead in the interview. Quite brilliant.
Have you ever met Bob Dylan?
I did meet him in a dream once.
In a dream?
Mm.
And what was the dream? What were the circumstances?
Well, I think he was wearing like he looked a bit like Jesus.
Right.
Or what Jesus
the way they portray
wearing.
Jesus.
If he was wearing like a nightgown, like Jesus's nightgown,
yeah,
it looked like he was wearing, and we were just like walking around in a place where our surroundings had no color, but we did.
And so you
imagine how she draws this image of her dream. And she says, and they're walking around, and everything around is plain. There's no color, but they are in color. Her and the Jesus Bob Dylan. So, as you can tell, they're actually at this point, both the interviewer and the interviewers. On the show, they're actually following her. They're trying to follow her lead, and so they don't have to branch off into anything, to try and put her in a position that is weird, because she's already going in that direction by herself, So now they know that they have to step it up, or they have to step it up. They have their own way of pushing even that further, if they can, as far as they can, and that's what I think they think they would do,
You had a conversation with Bob Dylan.
I remember the words, but it was very nice.
Well, Aurora has first of all, I want to thank Alf for coming in and playing keyboards with Aurora.
Thank you.
Aurora has performed The Life on Mars, but also she has a new single called I Went Too Far, which I'm going to play. And I was nervous I wouldn't like it. I'd only like the cover version, but I really like this song.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think you're onto something. And if I say it, I was a judge on America's Got Talent, so I must know what I'm talking about. Aurora's debut.
No, that's true. He was a judge. America's Got Talent. So it's sort of funny, right? Because of the whole idea with Angelina, having gone through that. So I think maybe he was there. I don't remember when Howard Stern was one of the judges, because I didn't really follow the show much. But maybe he replaced Howie Mandel or I don't know if they were there at the same time. I would doubt it, because probably he was there for the comical and the entertainment factor of things, not necessarily because he understands music to the level of a musician or an expert in that field. And I think that's what he's referring to in a sort of joking way, that he was a judge there, so he understands music, but and they're both sort of laughing because that's not really his forte, right? And so anyway, we're moving on.
Album, All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend is All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend, right?
That's the
Yes,
title
it's
of her
very
album, I
long.
believe.
It's now available wherever music is sold. You can go to aurora-music.com for tour dates and more info.
The Howard Stern Show. The Howard Stern Show.
I can't believe you don't have a boyfriend.
Oh, well, no.
You working on that, or are you not interested?
I collect moths, dead ones. So I think that's why I'm keeping
You collect dead moths?
like the flying ones.
No kidding. What?
Okay, so just quickly. They came back from commercial, right? And they kept her, and obviously they want to understand a little bit more about her. And so now they know that they're dealing with someone that is quite imaginative, And so they're actually paying very close attention. And he's doing a great job in sort of translating what she's saying when she has maybe a little bit of a difficulty in expressing herself, or even, sort of clarifying things. And yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect for Howard. She's like the perfect guest. He doesn't really have to push much. She's just like moving on into stuff that he's being probably thinking like, oh my God, it's weird, and it's so weird that I don't have to make it weirder. At this point.
What's that about?
They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And if they move, you can't really see them, all the details. So if I find a dead one, I like to put it in a glass bottle or something. And then
How many moths do you have
I
in your
have
collection?
21 now.
21 moths.
Yes.
Alf. Aurora's a real original, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah.
It's fun.
Okay. Now this is sort of funny because the two of them, they're communicating and they're saying that Aurora's an original. Now, the way I think what they were implying is that she's weird, aside from being original, because he is an original as well, Howard, and in the sense of his show, the type of show that he has and that he constructed. But I think, I imagine from the point of view of Aurora, who is usually the smartest person in the room, including this room, I think. She's listening to this, and she knows, that she's the way she sounds, and she knows that that's how they would interpret it. And I don't think it bothers her at all that they think she's weird, because she, that's what I think she calls her fans, right? So, just part of her nature, to sort of go with the flow of this. But I think in this case, original is the right word, but not in the sense of weird, because weird, we define weird as, it's sort of a funny thing, because you can be weird and not accept it, or you can be weird and if somebody that is renowned thinks you're cool, all of a sudden that weirdness is something that people love, So it all depends on what kind of fandom, you have that accepts the person's weirdness, let's say. But I would also say that probably anyone that is original, truly original, will probably come out as sounding sounding weird in some fashion or another, because they're they're saying things, or their point of view is so different from the normal that people take time to accept or gravitate or see the relevance of that, you know. And yeah, so, and especially if a person is very, very bright, or very, very intelligent, artistically, and you know, it's not an easy thing to be, you know, like Aurora. Even though she's in that room and they're sort of talking about her as being original, she's somewhat alone in that room, in the sense of her capacity to understand the reality of everything that's going on at her young age in comparison to everyone else, you know. And I think that's probably what Howard would gravitate towards, because he, you know, throughout his life probably has had so many interactions with so many of these artists that he himself understands. I think to a degree, you know, what he has in front of her, what he has in front of him, and when he's talking to Aurora, you know.
Fun.
Yeah, it's fun, right? Have you seen her moth collection?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Will you
I like
ever
to show them.
You do?
I'm proud.
No kidding.
She tried to feed me once.
I'm
What?
sorry.
Feed you a moth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? You eat the moths, Aurora?
No, but I had one in my mouth once just to see how it feels, and they're very hairy. So don't do it. Do not put the moth in your mouth.
You know, it's funny.
Now,
I would think
I just
you
want
talking.
to interrupt something here, because again, I'm interrupting quite a bit. But I just want to point something out about the beginning of this part of the interview, when he asks her, he says, "Oh, you don't have a boyfriend? How is that possible? You know, are you working on that type of thing? You know?" And she answers, I have moths. I collect moths, dead ones." and then she was continuing on, but he didn't let her finish, and I think she was trying to say, and that's why maybe people are staying away from me, you know, like, maybe as an excuse of why she didn't have a boyfriend. But you know, she's just trying to sort of be funny in her own way, I think. And then it becomes the subject matter, you know, because it's quite interesting, and yeah, so it takes on a little bit of a life of its own, you know, this interview with the moths, you know. I mean, the last time I heard anybody talk about moths was Norm Macdonald with his moth joke, you know, which was actually quite brilliant, and maybe I can include it here if I can. I don't know. Yeah, for those who know Norm Macdonald, he's a comedian. I think one of the best comedians ever. Incredibly astute and very bright, and had his own original way of looking at things. So, and anyway, I'm gonna go back because I interrupted so much. So, and maybe hopefully from the beginning, if I can. I don't know where the beginning is. So,
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, right? Have you seen her moth collection?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Will you
I like
ever?
to show them.
You do?
I'm proud.
No kidding.
She tried to feed me once.
I'm
What?
sorry.
Feed you a moth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? You eat the moths, Aurora?
No, but I had one in my mouth once just to see how it feels, and they're very hairy. So don't do it. Do not put the moth in your mouth.
You know, it's funny. I would think you talking between the songs would be very interesting.
Yeah, just say all this
Just
stuff.
say all this stuff. I'll go to the show.
and that's sort of funny, because I've said that from a long time ago, that her thoughts and her expressions and what she says are as entertaining, I would say, as her singing, which is incredible. The top level of everything, you know. So yeah, you know, I think everybody, all the fans, always adore when she's talking during the concerts, because she's funny, and she says things that are so so different, let's say, and always pleasant in some fashion or another. Pleasant in the sense of it's just interpretation, the way she sees things. I think it's always interesting,
I mean, don't apologize to your fans anymore. Wait, you're into some weird stuff. You know what? You know what?
See, he
I
tries
remember
to,
when Trent Reznor had 9 Inch Nails. Remember those guys, 9 Inch Nails? He was into some weird stuff. You know what I mean? Like you'd see, like in his videos, you'd see like animals decaying and all that kind of.
See, he's talking about how people, certain experiences he has with other artists that have done things that are weird and so on. But for her, there's nothing weird in what she's doing, so she doesn't see it that way. I don't think. I think she just does things because she likes, certain things, and she's unafraid of how people perceive that, and that's the difference, I think, between someone that has the has that sense of a self-assured aspect of her own understanding of who she is, and the ability to express that, without condition, and she's not being scared of how it's going to be interpreted by others. She could be herself. Now, a lot of people admire that, I think. Probably a lot of her fans admire that. And maybe others are not accepted, and that's why she probably talks about her fans as being weird and weirdos. I think that's how she defines the fandom. Something like that. I don't remember. But she but then again, there's a certain aspect of that is why some people are accepted and some people are not in their weirdness, and a lot of it has to do with I think her intelligence, in her particular case, why it's accepted, because she's so smart, she's so wise, that it's very easy to accept the weird things or the things that seem weird to others, because it makes you. She has a way of making you reflect on the aspect of is it actually weird what she's saying or what she does, or is it us that are so lacking in imagination that are weird, who are actually the weird ones, just because there's a bigger number that sees things or what we call normal doesn't necessarily mean that the normal is actually not the weird ones, so yeah, all this is just my own thoughts and opinions. So
like if you did a video with just the moth collection, and
but I have been wanting to have moths in every single video.
Yeah, that could be your thing.
It doesn't happen.
Why? Your management says no way?
Oh no, I think it's only like we find people with a different idea, but I do want to direct. Is that what you do when you decide?
Yes. Direct, yes.
And I want to direct.
Hey, listen.
A music video.
You're the artist. You can do what you want. You know what I mean?
Well, she just started. Yeah. So
if I was managing you, I'd have that moth collection out on stage, and I'd have you feed the audience moths. You'd be a hit.
But I do want to have like a cannon with lots of dead bugs.
Yeah.
That goes on the audience.
Let me tell you something.
Shows.
Wow.
I got to tell you something, Aurora. I think you're onto something. Alf doesn't agree, but I think so.
I think I can see protesters.
Like AC/DC, if you had a cannon on stage, and then in the middle you blow it up, and then moths and dead bugs come out and hit the audience.
Because it would be so fun, because when you're amazed, you open your mouth and you go, and
oh,
then it would
no.
fall.
Yeah, and all the dead bugs would go into people's mouths.
But it would be a bit funny. Maybe not.
Hell
then,
yes, it
but
would.
In a year, it would be funny. But I would laugh about it a year after.
And then you make I love what you're saying, and then make a dress out of dead moths.
Yes.
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 Oh.
They smell so lovely. They smell good,
Yes.
They smell good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like something safe and old and
Or
something
even
that you've smelled before.
what about like cockroaches? Are you into them at all?
Oh, I have lots of them actually. The first,
You see how he's trying to press the envelope. He's trying to go further and further, you know. But she's already a step ahead in the sense of like, for her, she sees things, all these things as normal, as not normal, but I mean like as something that's no big deal, because he has no idea. I think at this, maybe now he's getting the idea that she. I don't think she can be shocked, you know, or with a topic or with the discussion, and that's where imagine that, you know, that she's ready to answer or to respond to almost anything that anybody says, and she usually has some kind of answer to it, or she has thought about it in some sense or other, you know. It's just fascinating, you know, that how brilliant she is at such a young age too. It's incredible.
a TV show I did on my own,
Yes.
where I did this song actually,
Yes.
but he plays it better than I do. I had 8 cockroaches on my piano to keep me safe.
No kidding.
But they're not real though, plastic ones.
But do you have any pet cockroaches?
Oh no, but they're very fascinating
should.
because they can be in an explosion and still survive.
Oh, they're
much cooler than
survivors,
us.
much like myself. They are some. I've been called the
Just
human
like
cockroach.
you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are.
Just like me.
The Howard Stern.
Now that is hysterical, because she says she really likes cockroaches because they are survivors, and she mentions they can survive an explosion. I think she's probably referring to a nuclear explosion, because they can survive, I think, radiation and so on. And he says, yeah, you know, they're survivors just like him, you know. And she goes, yeah, just like you, you know. And then he goes, and then she's about to say, yeah, you know, just like you, like. And he goes, yeah, and she seems to just about to say, yeah, like you're a cockroach, you know. And they went to break, you know. But just a break, actually. I think it was the end of the interview, you know. So this is a perfect type of guest for Howard Stern, because it's because he doesn't really have to do anything. You know, he doesn't have to bring out something that is entertaining for the audience and unique and original, you know, because Aurora comes like in that package, that she is original, and her thought patterns are so much different than most people's, that she could probably go on all day on this, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if she would be like you know, his perfect guest, you know. She could, yeah, she would probably be great there on a regular basis to appear on his show. He would love that. I think I will probably get bored, you know, because I don't think it's that much different for her to talk to Howard as it is to think on her by herself on different subject matters, you know, have her own discussions within her. But at the same, like I said, and sometimes I you know, I sort of worry about her, because she is so smart. And it's not easy to be so uniquely bright in this world, you know. Okay. All right. Because it's hard to be understood, you know, by, I think, probably for her, by others, except in this particular way where people are sort of like having fun with her, you know, with what she's saying. She's having fun too, in the sense of not everything she says she means, because she has a dry sense of humor, where a dry sense of humor, coming back to Norm Macdonald, is very similar in the sense of you're not always sure whether they're joking or not, and that's what I mean by dry sense of humor. I sort of have that at times, so it's very easy for people to confuse that you're saying something that you really mean and something that you're just kidding, you know. Anyway, so the last part, if I remember correctly, this is after the show. So she's basically sitting in a green room, waiting to leave or something or other. And what happens is one of the, I think, members of the staff or of the show, I guess a young guy or whatever, he, I guess probably heard that she doesn't have a boyfriend, and he tries to hit on her in a sense, or at least try to get together in some sense to get to know her. And I just love the way she just moves around that conversation. So I'll just make you hear what I'm talking about. And probably the nicest rejection ever that I've ever heard.
Stern Show.
Hello.
Hello,
How
nice
you
to meet
doing?
you. I don't know if you shake hands or whatever.
I like fist bumps.
Did you? Excuse me, pardon me. I've never been to Norway, so that's
It's very nice.
Yeah. What? It looks beautiful.
It's very nice. It's very beautiful. The nature is very good.
Yes.
The Chinese food is not that good, which
Oh.
is very sad because I love Chinese food.
My girlfriend likes Thai food here. She's been to Thailand.
It's nice.
So he's trying to hit on her in a sense, but he has no idea. He's nervous, you know, and he's not really make that much sense. But I think she spots that right away, and it just anyway.
I don't know. Did you have fun on the show?
It was the best fun of the best
That's good.
fun.
That's. I guess you'll be hanging out later today or something. Huh?
I think I have a few things to do first, but I'll hang around in between
Yes.
my things.
And I won't be doing much either. So.
Yeah.
That's not what she said.
Maybe you can drink some tea and watch the birds, the
Maybe.
doves outside.
I don't. I don't really go outside all that much. So.
No,
No.
so sad.
I-
You're missing out.
Huh?
You're missing out.
I'm sure I am. I just I don't know. It's nothing I want to necessarily be. It's hot. It's hot outside.
It's never hot in Norway.
That's good.
It's very nice. I don't like when it's hot.
All right. What?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Bye, man.
Bye.
I mean, isn't that the nicest, the sweetest rejection ever? You know, just cracks me up. Anyway.